Hello guys, and welcome back to Dark Horse FM, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you the tactic that I'm using with Real Madrid currently in my Football Manager bunker save. That's what I'm going to call it. It's going to be called the bunker save because currently I don't actually have time to play Football Manager with a hands-on approach due to the power outage that I've been having in my state recently, because we had a storm and then the power lines were cut, so it's been a while and they're still under construction anyway. So hopefully we're going to have power back very soon. But the small time I have to actually play Football Manager, it's once in a while when I go to a coffee shop, I'll hang out with my friends. That's when I have time to load up FM, and that's like barely an hour or two or even less. So for a week I've been running this Football Manager save with Real Madrid, currently in La Liga, and these are the results that we'll be having so far. We've probably had good games in friendlies. I haven't actually gone far in the save anyway, but the tactic that I'm using right now is something quite special because it's the tactic without instructions. It's a blank tactic, no instructions. Okay, except team instructions. So when creating this tactic, I opted for something really simple, but the way the tactic is set up, it's not really designed for Real Madrid per se, so it kind of gives it that sketchy feeling about how I'm going to use it and make it work for Real Madrid. But so far so good, it has been working, and I didn't do anything to add instructions to the players. We're going to look at the instructions much later. And so like I said, the tactic has no instructions whatsoever, no player instructions, but there are team instructions as well. The mentality is attacking, and we're going to go into the team instructions in detail, but just to confirm, looking at the player instructions, we could see that the goalkeeper is super keeper on support duty, no instructions. You can see all the players, they don't have any instructions. Both ball playing defenders on defend duty, two wing backs on support, no instructions whatsoever. All the players that you see here, all their player instructions are completely blank. So that's the way the tactic is set up. So you can use this and just set the player instructions to set the player roles in this manner, and that's the tactic all set up. And then we'll go into the team instructions real quick. In the defensive midfield position is a defensive midfielder on support as opposed to the deep line playmaker. Ideally, this tactic may not be something that you would resonate with Real Madrid most of the time, because Isco, and normally this would be Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. So let me just clear that up so you can actually see what we're supposed to see. So as it's blank like this, so this is Toni Kroos and Luka Modric, and then Casemiro. This can be Casemiro and this can be Camavinga as well. So those are the players that are using these roles, and then most of the time I can use Isco as a Metala on attack PT, and both central midfielders are Metalas on attack. So one player, the idea behind this tactic is that the Metala is going to roam around in this position here to try and draw the central midfielders or the defensive midfielders, and indeed the center halves of the opposition team, to try and draw them out. And while they're drawing them out, the inside forward, I really wanted to use an inverted winger in these positions, but the inside forwards tend to cut inside and then support the strikers. So it's basically there are three strikers in the tactic, and then the central midfielders, which are the Metalas, tend to go out wide and then create that gap for the inside forward and the advanced forward to actually get into. So while that is happening in the attacking phase of the field, while the inside forwards tend to cut inside and try and support the striker, the wing backs on support duty are the ones that actually overlap in space and try and whip in those crosses and offer the width in the tactic. The ball playing defenders tend to carry the ball and dribble. As much as I've begged them not to do that, they still do that anyway, and that's because there are no instructions. So basically the players are playing according to their player preferred moves, and with Real Madrid there's a lot of player preferred moves for certain players, so they kind of just do what they would normally do in their normal position. So there are no instructions for anybody. Now moving into the team instructions, then when the team is out of possession, we have a standard defensive line, but a higher line of engagement, not much higher. The pressing is also more often, that's not using the extremely urgent pressing, because I know I have central midfielders that are quite aging. That's Toni Kroos and Luka Modric are not the most dynamic or not the most aggressive players. So more urgent pressing is actually useful for us, and then having that high line of engagement that quite helps. The team has also been asked to get stuck in. I don't really like this instruction, so you can take it off if you notice that your team is getting a lot of fouls, but I'm just using it in the tactic to try and impose our players, to try and impose ourselves on the opposition a lot more, because the pressing intensity is not that high. So combining it with a get stuck in instruction actually helps. I also included that the team uses the offside trap. Looking at Real Madrid, they actually have good technical players in defense, so the defense can actually spring the offside trap quite quickly on the opposition. And looking at in transition phase now, the team has been asked to counter press and to also hit them on the counter. Madrid are very, very good on the counter attack. They're probably one of the best counter attacking teams in the world for the past decade, so I have to admit. asking the team to play on the counter attack, and also including that the goalkeeper distributes it quickly. So Thibaut Courtois is actually going to go beyond himself here a little bit and try to throw that ball into the fullback's position and then also to the central midfielder. So the ball starts from the fullback and the central defenders, that's the ball playing defenders. When we are in possession, and if you've been following the channel quite well, if you're following Dark Horse FM, you realize that I'm the kind of person that will want to use a slower tempo and a more possession-based style of play. But with Real Madrid, I literally just wanted to have fun. So I just let the team play with a standard passing mentality, because I know that Madrid are quite a fast team and also a very technical team. So forcing them to play on short passing wasn't going to be very helpful. So I just let the team play with a standard passing directness and also asked them to play with a higher tempo. You can see they've also been asked to run a defense and be more expressive, just have some fun. That's the idea behind this tactic. The team's width is also wide. That helps the Mezzala in central midfield, so they're going to spread the opposition's defense out wide and then allow the inside forwards to cut inside. The wing backs will also help the Mezzala in stretching the pitch a lot more to allow the inside forwards and the central attacking, that's the advanced forward, Benzema. I really wanted to use him as a deep lying forward, but for this tactic I'm using the advanced forward because I want him to actually get into that space left behind by the spread or the stretched out defense. Wrapping up the team instructions, then we can see that I also included play out of defense. That's as much as I want the goalkeeper to start the play quite quickly, I want him to send it out to the central defenders and the wing backs that's the first any player on the back line, so they can start the play from there, as opposed to kicking it long to try and allow oppositions to like have a tussle in the air. That's not what I'm looking for. So that's basically how I set the team up, and that's all the instructions I used. Looking at the mentality, I left this on attacking during this game. Let's look at the schedule quickly. I actually had a game against Manchester City that I used the attacking mentality and it failed terribly, so I created a second tactic that is more balanced and more cautious. Let me use the cautious mentality, but it's not using a cautious mentality per se. It's just the same tactic with a balanced mentality. So I can use this tactic to play those big games where we are expected to not be so open against the opposition, for games like Sevilla. So this balanced tactic actually helped us get good results against Sevilla. If I can just get my shadow to open. Will it? Okay, there we are. A big game against Sevilla. I used the balanced mentality to play that game, but the Valencia game was an attacking mentality that we used for that game as well. So these are the two versions of the tactic that I can actually include, but I'm going to only attach one version of the tactic, which is the attacking mentality. So if you've downloaded the tactic, you want to just copy the tactics to a second slot and then change the mentality to balance. That's all. That's the second version of the tactic. That is literally what I did here. I just changed the mentality to balance, which is something I'm going to use for big games. We are Real Madrid. There's no reason why we should play with a cautious mentality ever. When it comes to set pieces, I know Madrid have slightly tall players, but they're not the tallest team in La Liga. They're not the tallest team in the world as well, from what I've noticed using Real Madrid. Apparently, it's been a long time I've used an elite side, so this was quite a break from everything I'm used to in Football Manager. So looking at the corner routines that I'm talking about, this is the way it's set up in defense. I don't think I touched anything in their defense really, but in the attacking phase, this is what I use for the attacking corners. I set the one central defender to play on the far post, so you can have the corner taker Toni Kroos cross the ball to the far post and then have a header there. You can have Casemiro in this role, as much as sometimes I normally swap this player, the DM and the central defender in this role. Just swap these two players. So depending on who is on the field, if I want Casemiro at the far post, I'll have him at the far post. So depending on this player should be tall, by the way. So you have one of the tallest players there and have him have the corner taker swing the ball to the far post. It's the same thing on the left hand side. That's the exact same corner I use. I know normally the near post corner tends to work in this game, but I just opted for something really different this time by going for this far post corner. So guys, that's a summary of the tactic. I'm still in September anyway, because like I mentioned, I don't really have a lot of time to play Football Manager right now because we are actually struggling with power outage. So currently right now, I think I've played this save for about a week now, and I'm just in my how many games have I played so far? It hasn't even been that long, but there's something special about this tactic, and I do know it's going to get us good results in the game. Looking at the data hub so far, I wanted something really blank, so you can see that we have a 2.40 expected goals. This is bound to get higher. Why I said so is because the teams I've played so far are probably the top teams. Barcelona, that's besides Barcelona, I've technically faced everybody that is supposed to give me trouble. So that's Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. Besides Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, really. We've played Sevilla, we've played Athletic Bilbao, and we've played Valencia as well. So it's interesting to see how far the tactic is going to go. And also, I'm interested to see how the tactic will work for you. If a tactic without any instructions can actually help you get amazing results in the game. But so far so good. This is the tactic that I'm using for Real Madrid currently. And it's a save that I'm playing right now because I can't go into an in-depth style of playing Football Manager. I can't use my hands-on approach because I currently do not have the access to power that I normally used to have before. So it's been about 2 weeks now, and hopefully this is going to be sorted really soon, and I'm going to be back creating more in-depth analysis of Football Manager tactics. I'm going to have a lot of tactics to share with you guys when everything is back in order. So for now, let me know how this tactic work out for you guys. Thanks for sticking out with the video for this long, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Hopefully that will be much sooner.